Hello, my name is Jamie, and on the Facebook page for My Tarot, the My Tarot Facebook page, there was some questions about reading pips, understanding what they mean. There was confusion about, people trying to just get a grasp of it intuitively, because we know Pamela Coleman Smith. She's got these great cards that are like flashcards. They tell little stories, but each one of those is just like a Polaroid or just a small frame out of a movie. And so there's a whole other level there that we can tap into. And so the main thing to consider is that we're storytellers. So whether we seek to understand our own stories or make the stories of others clear so they can gain some kind of an understanding, either way, we're the readers of the cards and the interpreters of the stories that they tell. So today what we're going to do is learn how to tell the story through the pips, which some people call them minor arcana. So we're going to tell the story through the minor arcana. And like every story, remember, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. So if you lay out 3 cards, then the third card tells you where you're going. There's a story there that this is the end of that story. We have a beginning, and then the middle is how we get to that end. And our job is just to weave these together to make a story. So just like counting from 1 to 10 is a logical story, we start with the barest minimum of the aces and we move through the numbers, and each number adding a layer or a weight to the story till we reach a natural conclusion with the 10. And it's by understanding the numbers on an intuitive level, it'll help us to create the story presented when we lay down the cards. Not just learning keywords and things like that, but trying to get a grasp of how the numbers logically move from 1 to 10. So let's take a short journey through the pips, starting with an inkling of an idea. And let's watch the idea grow and see where it takes us. So I'm just kind of doing this offhand here. So I guess I'll be interested in seeing where it goes also. So I have my cards here. But let's discuss first off what the different suits are. So we've got the swords, the wands, the coins, and the cups. Coins sometimes called pentacles. Depends upon which deck you're using. The wands could be batons, etc. So we're just going to go with the Rider Waite, and also take a look at the Marseille at the same time. So briefly though, let's consider the suits. Let's kind of just look at it logically as far as, and again, you can put astrological meanings to all these things. You can put the Kabbalah and all these things, but there was a period where people were telling fortunes with the cards, and they never read a book because a book had not been written yet. People have taken omens and things they've seen, and they've weaved stories to tell oracles and fortunes with for thousands and thousands of years. So I'm going to try and do this without a lot of esoteric jargon or things like that. All those are important. All those can get added in as you learn more. If it helps you to get a correspondence, astrology, you could apply astrology to your cards. The Emperor, there's ram's heads on there, so maybe that could apply to Aries, so the constellation of Aries, things like that. But right now we're just going to look at really the bare basics. So let's look at the cards. We have heavy suits and we have light suits, okay? So, or soft suits. So the heavy cards, swords and wands. These are cards that can be used as, for example, swords. They can be used as weapons or for creation. Using swords takes thought and discipline. It can to be able to wield it as a weapon safely. And that's why it's the sword is the weapon of the kings and noblemen, who also have to bear the weight of being the ones to wield the swords. Then we have the wands, which are another heavy card. They're made of wood. It can be crafted and used to build homes and art. But it can also be used as a weapon to make a club. But wood is also seen in this context also as having the creative energy of fire. That creative fire that burns in us and pushes us to create and build. I'm a musician, so I really do, I feel a bond towards the wands as an artist, as a musician. But those are the hard suits. And as we go through the story, think about the number card that we're on. Is it a hard suit or is it a soft suit? Swords are mental, and there can be a lot of mental strain that goes with being the person that carries that sword. So it's a mental strain. Same thing with the wands. All that wood gets heavy after a while. So with the soft suits, then we have the coins and we have the cups. So the coins, they are used for buying the necessities in life, or used in the pursuit of what we'd always dreamed for, whether it's good or bad. Coins are something that you can grow. You rub two coins together and you put these coins together in the right way, and they can grow for good or ill. So those, that's why coins are considered a soft suit. The cups are the other soft suit, and cups are the suit of spirituality and emotion. The cups, essentially, they hold the water of life. What we need for our spiritual well-being and to be able to grow as human beings. So, as we take this into consideration then, let's take a look at our story. We start with the aces. And I'm not going to pull out all the cards, but I'm going to use the wands as the example. Okay, so that we're going to keep it simple from there. So let's think about this for a second. So we have the swords, an ace of swords. What does that even mean? Well, with the ace of swords, if it's thought, swords are thoughts, swords are ideas, then it's an idea coming on, right? You start at 1, which means before 1 there was 0. We had no idea, right? And then all of a sudden, we get presented with an idea. This is the Marseille. This is the Rider-Waite. The swords will also show you, and it's presented an idea, and that's of thought. And then maybe you're going to be presented with maybe the wands. And so if you get presented with a wand like this and you see this fire, so what are wands? Wands are creativity. Wands are that drive, that fire, that instinct. Some people will tell you just from looking at the wands that it's our sexual energy. So we started with 0 and nothing, then all of a sudden we have a creative inspiration. 0, we now have our ace, it's being presented to us. Coins. We start with nothing, right? Coins, we have no money, start with 0, and then we get the seed. We get our first coin, an inspiration to maybe work hard, maybe try and do something with that single coin, because now, again, it's this first seed that we got for the coins. And money we want to make grow. Money is something that we need, right? And then cups. So we start with 0. We may be ambivalent about something. We may have just met a person, and all of a sudden it's like we've just been handed a cup of the spirit of life when we meet that person. We get that inspiration. We've seen this person. All of a sudden, we have this passion that where'd that come from? And that's because in the aces, we started with nothing with 0. The aces is where we first get that inkling, right? So from here, we have that inkling. We're going to move to the 2s. And the reason why I'm going to use the Marseillan here also with the Rider-Waite is because we just need an example of what a 2 is. We don't even need pictures, right? So swords. We have 2 thoughts, right? At crosses with each other. Now we have a choice to make. You know, the ace presented us with an idea. We're going to think about these things. So the 2 is about making choices. And with swords, it could be tough because you may have 2 of the same type of idea. You know, A seems the same as B. It's just, a different way of doing it. But it's that uncertainty that can go with it and can cause confusion. So that's the thought process. That's the beginning of taking your ace and making a decision. Do I want to run with this or not? Do I want to put the thought and the time and the effort in? And so with wands, what's that? So we get this creative spark. Started with 0. We get a creative spark. Now we have these 2 wands here. And being creative. What do we want to do with our story? Well, we could do A. That's exciting. We could do B. That's exciting too. But with the wands now, we're sitting here and we're being creative and we're thinking, what can we do with this? And then we come up with the coins. We started with 1. Actually, we started with 0, but now we have first the coin that was given to us, and we have ideas now. And so maybe we have these 2 coins now, and we need to juggle them. We need to make decisions. Do we want to just stay where we are? Are we happy with just having 2 coins? Maybe we have to balance out our bills, because when you have 2 things, you're weighing them out. It's scales. We're weighing the scales. What do you want to do with the 2 coins? You might be in a good position, but you need to make that decision. And being in 2s, it's important to understand you still have a chance to make a decision. Now with cups, we started with nothing. We move to the Ace of Cups, where we're presented with this spark, this glow, this energy. Maybe we meet another person. 2 cups come together and it can form an energy. It can form a bond. It's a spiritual bond. So when you're looking at the cups, you're thinking of relationships. Is this the start of a new relationship? It's the very beginning. You can go anywhere with it. You have choices to make. You're still at just number 2. That's the very beginning of our story. That's still far away from a conclusion. So with the 2 of Cups, you can enjoy the fact that there's another cup there and enjoy that glow. But it really comes down to, with the 2s, you're balancing things out and you still have choices. Now, this is what Pamela Coleman Smith shows with the 2s. Here she is with the 2 right here. And we're looking at a gentleman or a person with 2 wands. They are staring out and they've got the world before themselves, right? They can still make choices. It's decisions to be made. I started with 1 wand and it was an inspiration. I've got myself a 2nd wand now and I can now choose because I've got what I need to make my choices. His path is not set yet. He can still turn around, make other choices, make other decisions. But he's looking at the world right here and he's weighing all of his options. And that's what we do with all the 2s. Okay? So 2s are about making choices. And again, I don't want you to think of keywords. I just want you to think of the logic of what are wands? Fire, energy, creativity. What are swords? Well, originally, without knowing what the elements are and what the esoteric, swords were wielded by, again, the rulers and the noblemen, the people that, people who, the soldiers, the generals. So it's about thought. Coins were the merchants who want to make it grow. And the cups, again, spiritual, so it could have been the priest class. I mean, we have, the Catholics still use the, for communion and things like that. So don't get bogged down by keywords. Tell a story with it. I have a gentleman here who was given a creative idea, and now he's dreaming about his possibilities. Okay? So from there, we had our possibilities. Now we need to put a plan into action. So we're going to add a third pip in here. We're going to add 1, 2, 3, a third sword, a third coin, a third cup. Okay? So the whole thing is that when you have 2, you have these choices. You may not be certain. When you add a third sword, let's think about it because it's a hard suit. It could be a negative or it could be a deal. It could be a tiebreaker. It could be a deal breaker or a tiebreaker. So Pamela Coleman Smith, she's got this heart there with 3 swords in it. People see that as pain. It's a snapshot. That is a snapshot of a situation. But when you're looking at 3s, you're looking at where we had them crossed before and uncertain where to go. That's that third idea that comes in. It could be disruptive or it could be a positive force. When it's a sword, it's going to be based on how you're telling your story and the cards around it. So it could be the positive thing that finally says, that's the deal breaker. That's what I needed to do. This is the right idea. Because with 3s, we are putting our plan into action. We're moving past the 2s. So with the swords, it could be good. It could be a problem because we've just inserted a third thing in here. And again, swords are hard suits. Wands, we have our 2 where we have our choices. Now we have this third wand coming in and it's coming between the 2. This is the decision that we're making. This says we're now moving in our story. We need to move past just thinking about it. This is where we make our decision. So from a creative decision of the 2, the choice has been made and spawned the third wand, which is now we've implemented the plan. And now we've released our idea into an existing unknown future. So with the coins, money, okay, the choices have been weighed because we had the 2 coins and we're balancing them out. The choices have been weighed and the decisions made now. So what we need to do is put our money where our mouth is. And we need to implement the plan that we had been balancing out all along. That third coin is the decision to do something. So if this was Pamela Coleman Smith, if it was coins, you would see the architects have gotten together, 3 people, and they've made a decision. Here we see the 3 of Wands for Pamela Coleman Smith. Now we have the 3, and where before the person was staring at the globe, seeing the world before them, now it's later, and the ships have gone out. We see ships in the harbor now where we didn't. The ships are out, and now his plan has been implemented. And with the cups. So from the joining of the 2 cups, when we're talking about spirituality or we're talking about emotion, something new gets created. And so 3 of Cups could be the 2 of Cups, a relationship coming together, and 2 people deciding to make a life together can create a third life to raise. It's a moving forward in that relationship. The 2 coming together could be inspired to a whole new level, and where this person had 1 cup and this person had 1 cup, together these people form an extra cup. They are able to be bigger than individually. They are less than they would be together. It sounds codependent, I know, but this person's idea and this person's idea, combine them together, can be bigger than the sum of its parts. So that's our 3s. With the 3 of Cups, we're moving forward now because we've gained this new spiritual understanding. With the Wands, everything else. So the whole deal is that the stalemate is broken. We're moving forward, which moves us into the 4s. Okay? So when we move into the 4s, think of it kind of like this. You have 4 legs on a table. You have a stability, 4 walls, things like that. So 4s are, we've taken our plan with the 3, and now things are going to start moving forward. And the 4s are about the stability that we find. So now I want you to start noticing as we start moving forward. Odds and evens. We talked about the first card. So 0, we have nothing. The first card is our idea. 2, we have a balance. But now we threw in a 3. There's the odd number. It doesn't weigh out. It doesn't balance out. 2 plus 1. And that's the struggle. So keep that in mind as you're going through. That generally the even numbers, they balance out. They can start weighing and it can start getting heavy, but they weigh things out, right? So from the 3s, things are moving forward. Now what? So with the swords, we can find that it's possible to relax maybe with the swords, because now we're at 4 swords. And maybe it's time to relax after the effort of the 3 swords, because we had to come up with another idea. There was a lot of mental strain going into that. We had to just figure out what to do with the 2, and that 3rd one comes in, and it's a lot of thinking and a lot of thought, and it could have been difficult. But 4s are about balance. And so decisions have been made and actions taken. So now 4, can we rest? Sure. But the thing about 4s is just don't become too complacent or think that the work is done. The 4s are not 10s. The 4s are the 4 legs on a table, which gives us that moment of stability. They're that 4 walls that gives us safety. But you can't just live inside 4 walls. Life happens outside of those 4 walls, right? So when we look at wands then, with the threes, we've implemented the plan. And with the four, now we're starting to see the benefits of a positive progress. From our creative process and hard work, whatever, we now have a fourth wand that's created. And just like that four legs on a table, we have that new stability. And that's going to validate our efforts. And when we have four wands, when it comes up in a reading, there's a reason for celebration. Fours, stability, creativity, growth. It's a good time to celebrate. But keep in mind again that the wands are the heavy suits. So we want to watch and make sure that we don't get stagnant with it. Again, fours are not an ending. Fours are just a momentary pit stop in our journey where we've finished like a leg of our journey, right? So with the coins, we've successfully grown the 3 coins. We started out with our idea. We developed that into 2 coins. We took our knowledge and we were able to create the 3, and 3s are about growth and making things grow. From 2, we come to 3. We've made it grow. Okay. So from 3, we have the comfort of the 4 coins. But now with coins, again, we want to just consider what they really are. When we grow we become comfortable with those 4 coins because it does give us stability. But to put those 4 coins to work means taking chances with the coins. Taking those coins, putting them out in the wild and seeing if they grow. And some out of fear may believe it's better to maybe sit on what they think is their fortune. But our financial fears may be feeding into our own selfishness, which in turn will lead to our own sense of deepening spiritual isolation. Because we have these coins, we finally can take that break, we think, because we've gone from nothing to 4. And we may not want to move forward out of fear of losing something. But coins are not about spirituality. Coins are about security and feeding ourselves, buying the things that we think we want. Sometimes not what we need, though. And so that's why with the coins, if we focus on coins and don't do anything with them, it can lead to a deeper spiritual isolation because the money becomes more important. But with the cups, which is our other soft suit, from the comforting support of the 3, there's a 4th cup that can be created to hold like a new overflow of that spiritual joy and emotional stability. So we had these 3 cups, and when we have this sense and we're in touch with that spirituality, there can be this sense of joy. And it can be a spiritual joy, it can be emotional joy. The cups, and 4s are about stability. But the thing about the 4s and the cups is that we've got to be aware of like this comforting consistency, which can lead to like a stagnation and boredom, which are just around the corner. And that's why, we humans have a tendency to throw a wrench into the gears of a perfectly working machine. We can think we have everything we need or everything that we could want. But if we sit on that too long, then what happens? It's hard to believe, but whether it's a relationship or it's the job we always wanted, the villa in France, we get tired of it. So just like with the coins, we still need to continue to grow spiritually. And if we don't, then it's our human nature. Again, we get that comforting consistency, and that's going to lead to stagnation and boredom. Taking things for granted. So what happens then? Then we move into the fives. And keep in mind, I was talking about the odd numbers. We have the 3, the 5s, the 7s, the 9s. They don't balance out on a scale like the 2, 4, 6, 8. There is a certain stability to having those even numbers. And so we had the 4s though, but we can only stay on the 4s for so long. So great with the 4s, but 4s are not, again, as I said before, they're not the ending. One way or the other, we're going to move to the 5s. And if the 5s get presented in our story, this is our growing pains when we see the 5s. This is where we need to put our egos in check, because again, we're not even halfway there. We're not to the 10s yet. So it's almost like an adolescence, right? It's that growing pain. So when we have the 5s, and here we have, we have the Marseille. We had the 4s, which were balanced out, but then in comes this extra thought, this extra idea, this extra creative intrusion, this creative thought, this something is throwing things out of balance. With the swords, you had the stability that goes with the 4 of swords and things figured out, so you can take a mental break. And then here comes an intruding 5th sword. Is it your anxieties? Is it a bruised ego? That 5th sword? Did someone say something that triggered your anger? So that you end up doing something that you regret later? The swords are a heavy suit, so when you have 5 swords, things are out of balance. And we're going to react appropriately. Or inappropriately, I should say. We're going to react with our human nature when we have that extra sword thrown in there, and we may feel things are now out of our control. We just wanted to go back to the 4s, and here you've done that. So with the wands, we had our 4 of wands. We talked about that celebration. There's Pamela Coleman Smith's celebration with the wands. Yay! But then again, it's like there's only so long that you can stay celebrating day in, day out, months, years. Life moves on. And with the wands, we move on. So with the wands, we're full of creative energy. And we can't stay still long. So a wand leader, for example, let's say we have a wand leader. By this point, he's bored and thinking if 2 wands were nice and 4 wands were even better, then what if I stick a 5th wand in here and then move these other 3 around, and then boom, the other 3 wand leaders come over? And I'm saying other 3 wand leaders because there are no wand followers. Everybody here is a quote unquote leader, right? And now we have a mess. So we got bored with the stability. Somebody says, hey, let's try changing something. So with the wands, it's not that it's a negative thing, because again, creativity through conflict. Pamela Coleman Smith brilliantly doesn't have them hitting each other. They're just all waving their sticks saying, hey, my idea is better. Yeah, well, what about my idea and everything else? So it's all just posturing, But I mean, it's from this that we can develop new ideas, move forward, right? But what about the coins? Coins can buy us food and shelter, most anything we want, but not what we always need. So let's think about that for a second. 4 of coins, everything's nice and stable, and it's bought us food and it's bought us shelter. and most anything we would want, but not everything that we may need. We can surround ourselves with people and still be alone in a crowd. If we have the wealth of the Four of Coins, you would think we're happy. But if having the wealth of the Four Coins did not make us spiritually happy, now we're moving into the fives. And if the wealth of the Four of Coins did not make us spiritually happy, then a fifth coin might just make it worse. You know, love, spirituality, hope, and inner peace, they're all found by us giving to people and not us just having. So we can collect that. We can sit there with our four coins. We can get another coin. But is that what it's going to take after a while to make us happy, as we're sitting there alone with our 5 coins now? We become spiritually sick. It can lead to a physical sickness because we just don't take care of ourselves. An illness is an illness. And to be spiritually sick means to let everything go. So we need to just remember that the coins are not, they'll buy us things, but they can't always buy us happiness. We hear that, right? So with the 5 of coins, again, if you have 4 coins and you're unhappy, having 5 is not going to make you spiritually happy. And then we move on to the cups. So we've already talked about how the cups, we have the 4 cups. You know, after a while, we still need to grow. Our story's not even halfway done with 4. So at cups, you know, at first we loved all of our cups and thought, we've had situations, all of us, where we've had moments where we think nothing could ever be better than this moment. That's that initial 3 of cups. Nothing could be any better than this moment. And we grow, and that 4th cup grows and presents itself. But all these moments are just fleeting and can't last forever. So after a while, we might look at our cups and realize that things can't last forever. So looking at our cups, we might start taking them for granted. We could try to recapture some of those old feelings by purchasing a 5th cup. We have 4 cups, but that feeling's just not the same as when we first got those 4 cups, or those 3 cups, maybe even the 2 cups. You know, so we get that 5th cup and we try filling it from the other 4 maybe. But there's nothing left in the 4 cups that we really want to save. Things get old and stagnant, and as from there, you know, as we try to imagine what we had before, maybe we now know it's out of our reach, and so we get lost in thought, and we're left remembering the past and wondering, you know, is the past all that we have left? You know, because the cups again are about emotions. So we've just done like half the journey. We've started with 0. We've done the 2, where the aces, we've had this inspiration. And again, we're not using keywords. We're just following a path here. 1s, it's that inspiration. It's that first being given, the thought, the idea, the coin. Then things grow naturally. We have 2 coins. We need to decide what to do with it. We start balancing stuff out. Things are balancing because it's an even number. We have 2 swords. Boom. But we could be at a standstill with this. We have 2 cups. Twice the emotion. And again, 2. So again, That's a light suit. It's not a hard suit. So the cups, this could be a good thing, and we enjoy the overflowing bounty with it. So we have our twos. Then we move on to the threes. And where with the swords, we introduce that third one, that third thought, and that it's an odd number, so it can cause conflict. That's a hard suit, right? With the wand, since it's creativity. Well, actually, and let's back up for a second, because with the swords, this is a good thing again. You have a stalemate, you throw that third one in there. It's like it or not, now a decision's made. And you can move forward. With the wands, it's creativity. And you want to move forward with that. You're creative. It's a creative fire. You put all that energy in there. It's still a hard suit, because things can start weighing after a while. But with our softer suits like money, the coins, we get three people together and we rub these coins together and we build together and things grow. 4 is where we find the stability. 5, we're back to that odd number where things aren't balanced out. So I don't even need to, do I need to even go on anymore? I mean, I've taken a lot of time as is, and this is probably dragging on. But now you get a chance to tell the story. Where does the 6 go? So, here we have the people with the clubs fighting it out. So what does it mean to have 6 of clubs? You're building on the numbers 3. So you have 3 and 3. So you're building on that. And so Pamela Coleman Smith pretty much presents that as a victory. You've overcome the challenges of the 5 and you're moving forward. The swords, the mental anguish that goes with the 5s. Pamela Coleman Smith has a boat where you're on there, and again, it's that relief, kind of like what you had with the 4s, but 6s are all about harmony and improvement and moving forward. The 6 of coins. 6 of coins. You've learned from the 5s. You've learned, that you're spiritually deficit. That having 5 coins just is not what's going to make you happy. Having 4 didn't make you happy. 5 didn't make you happy. So with 6s are about harmony and improvement. So this is where we're now past the halfway mark. We're past our adolescence. 6s, we can make things, we can give things now. We understand. So the 6 of coins is where we can give to charity. We can give to people. We understand that to gain, to get, to receive, we have to give. The cups. We had that spiritual deficit with the 5 of cups. We tried to stay in the past. We didn't let go of things. So now we move to the 6s and we have this harmony and the improvement with 6s. We're past that adolescence again. We can reflect now on our past. We can build again. It's 2 times 3. So we have 6s, right? And so now we have this doubling here. We have this growth that we can have. And so 6s are about sharing and about giving and about understanding and finding that harmony. So now we move to the 7s. 7 of swords. We're moving our story along, and that weighs on us because we had all these decisions to make. We found some solace in the 6s, but 7 swords, man, they weigh a lot, and it's out of balance. Pamela Coleman Smith shows that as treachery, where we do things that we normally wouldn't because of stress and strain, because the swords, being that hard suit, they get heavy. The 6 of wands. After the conflict, somebody's going to have to stand up and say, well, regardless of anything, this is how we're going to do it. And you might be that person who has to stand up on a hill with this hard suit and say, you know what? We're going to move forward and I'm taking charge. It's going to move forward, but there may be conflict with this hard suit because of the wands. But we may be up to the challenge. That's not a bad thing. You know, creativity comes from challenge. See what I'm saying here? The sixes. You know, we have the positive, the softness of the soft suits, the coins and the cups. Reflect that in your story as you're telling it. The hard suits. We need the swords because we need to make decisions, but it's not always easy. But 6 is such a positive number, right? So maybe we find the solace because 6 is such a positive number. 7s, you know, again, because 7s are that odd number, what about cups? Well, we had the stability of the 6s. We had that insight. But since 7 is that odd number, you know, sometimes we still just let our minds wander. We have the spirit, we have all these things. You know, maybe we are just looking for something, you know. Pamela Coleman Smith shows it as pie in the sky, you know, the 7s, you know, like looking for fantasy. But 7s are about potential and ambition. 7s are traditionally seen as the potential. And so with the cups, what are the potentials with this? You know, but we need to just move beyond potentials to more of a reality base, which is when we come to the 8s. 8s are about progress and rewards. We've made it this far. Things get heavier from here. 8 swords, this could be the mental strain. Think of a king with the mental strain that he has. For some of us, it can weigh us down to the point where we can't move because of this hard suit. Too much mental strain and we can't see past it with the 8s. You know, the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands, because it's fire and energy and creativity, things can just start moving really fast. This could be good, it can be bad, either or. But, you know, you get 8 sticks of wood together and you light that. That can be a pretty big bonfire. And it'll burn fast. The soft suits, 8 coins. We're making our progress. We're moving forward. So, with the money, we're doing what we need to do. 8 of Cups. What does it mean to do progress with spirituality? It means not only do we learn from the 5s, that's not, you know, standing still is not the answer. You know, the stability of the 4s, we took it for granted. The 5s, it just, you know, adding an extra cup in there didn't make us feel better because 5s throw us out of balance. But with the 8 of Cups, we're ready to progress forward. We might even be willing to leave. As Pamela Coleman Smith shows, might even be willing to leave something behind. You know, leave the cups behind in the belief. Now we can believe that maybe there's something better on the other side. When we had 4s and we had 5 cups, we couldn't see past the moment. But by the time we get to 8 cups, we're ready to progress forward. And where are we progressing to? We're progressing to the 9s. And again, swords, we're at that odd number again. This is the anxiety. This is where too many thoughts. This is where we get the anxiety. Too much stuff weighing on us. You know, when we had just the 3 swords and the 2 swords, these were ideas and it was exciting time. You know, 4, we had made these decisions and it was nice and solid, but We start moving up with heavier numbers with the hard cards. And the cards become heavier themselves. And we get to these 9 of swords. And we have these 9 swords just hanging over our head. Each one could be its own separate anxiety. It's an odd number, right? That's a lot of swords. Wands. You know, with the 9 of wands, wands are still that creativity and things like that. But, you know, wands are a struggle because they're wood. They're not money. They're not swords. It's wood. You make things. You're creative. That's awesome. You come up with these ideas and things like that. But with the wands, you fight for everything that you get. And by the time you get to the 9 of wands, you've created something, but you may have the battle scars that go with it. It's a heavy suit. It's a hard suit. Okay? We get to the 9 of cups. 9s are about fulfillment. We've completed something, right? I mean, 9 of wands, we have these 9 wands. We've completed something. You know, we're almost to 10. With the 9 of cups, we've worked hard to get where we're at. But again, we need to be aware the same way with the 5 of cups. We go through these cycles, and 9s are that odd number. We might take things for granted. Some people say it's a smugness card. I just know that it is an odd number. We start getting heavier as we move up the numbers. And so the 9 of cups, we can be taking things for granted. We could, again, be smug because, you know, we're the most spiritual people out there now. We've traveled, we've, you know, become that spiritual guru. And forget actually what the true path was we were on. Because we've got our 9 cups. You know, and the 9 of coins. Worked hard to get where you're at with the 9 of coins. It's a soft suit, you know. We can be proud of where we're at, but not too proud. Are you alone? Do you have everything you spiritually need? It's a lot of coins. You know, you need to make your decisions there. But it does give you some independence, and you have put in your time and effort. So there's a positive freedom that comes from knowing that you were able to finally get to that 9 coins. And then we have the 10s. 10s are the start of a new cycle. 10s are just a 1 with a 0. And that's where the 0 comes from. So with the 10 of swords, that's just going to weigh down as much as you possibly can. Yes, it's a mental anguish. Yes, there's a lot of swords there. Yes, it might be time to just let things go. It's like things are absolutely out of your control. So maybe it's just time to jump back to 0. Let it go. Let things out of our control go, because by the time we get to 10, we've done the 8, the 9s. The positive thing about the 10 is we're done. We are so to the point now where we can let it go. And maybe this time we can use a path where we'll focus more on the positive sides. Not just what we can do with our swords. Not just, you know, thinking our way through things. Maybe we can add some cups along the way. You know? And then our other hard suit, where we have the wands. What do? You've got 10. It's a bundle. You're carrying them. You're weighing yourself down. With the 10 of wands, you've completed from 1 to 10. Congratulations, but it's just a continuation. You need to make a choice. And when you get to 10, it's time to reflect on where you're at and time for a new cycle, a new journey. The wheels turned. So you get to the 10 of cups. And some people see that as finally understanding what spiritual joy is. Some people say it's like the happiest card in the deck. 10 spiritual cups. It's an even number. It balances out. This is a good thing. And the 10 of coins. This could be a really, really good card if that's your goal in life. I've got a new job coming. How's it going to work out? 10 of coins. I'm going to get that raise. I'm going to get the boat. I'm going to get everything I want. But just remember with the coins, is it going to make you spiritually happy? Is it going to make you, so yes, it's a positive thing. You have worked hard to get where you're at. Maybe it's going to give you the ability to start focusing on other areas, because if you spend your entire life to try and get to that 10 of coins, and then you finally succeed after trudging and struggling and working and working and working, and then you die the next day. You've spent your whole journey struggling to finally get everything you want. You finally get it and then die. That's the path. So, just think of the numbers. I'm not using keywords. We have our soft suits, cups, coins. We have our hard suits, which are the swords and the wands. And then we have our numbers. We have our even numbers and our odd numbers. I would suggest that you look up some of the keywords for the numbers to help you reflect on what they are. It's, ace is beginnings, 2 is about balancing, 3 is growth, 4, blah, blah, blah. As you go through stability, 5 is challenges. It helps. But now when you lay out 3 cards, you want to be able to tell a story, right? And I like telling stories. Tell you what, let me do this. I'm going to tell a story. I wasn't planning on doing this, but let's do this. So here I've got my Marseille deck. I've got the wands here. Let's tell a story. So let's mix these up so that I don't know what card we get. But it's going to be a wand, because let's say that there's this creative fire and energy that we need to focus on. And that's going to be the main card. Okay? Now let's take a look and see what cards, when we just do the good old-fashioned shuffling here. We put to the left and right. So this is about telling our story. May not even have a particular question, but the story's going to tell itself. So we have the 8 of Wands. It's a heavy suit. It's a hard suit. So when we have the 8s, 8s are about progress, moving forward, And so with fire and creative energy, things could just be moving really quickly. We started out in our journey with all these high hopes and things like that. Here we are with our friend maybe, and it's like, you know what? We're going to start this endeavor. And we have all the faith that everything's going to work out. Things really take off. And it looks to me like, since we have our Knight of Cups here, Knight of Cups are, think of it as if this is like a young adult on their sports car. You know, they can be flighty, but he's sincerely offering his cups. So we're going to start this endeavor. We can see things are going to be moving fast. And since court cards can be people, it can be us, you know what? We can expect something positive from it. We may find that we have assistance along the way, enthusiastic assistance. So whatever our endeavor is, it's going to move fast, and we're going to start finding support right along the way, and it's going to be very exciting. These colors are really bright on here. This is so exciting. So here we are with our idea. You know, we've already gone through our cycle. Here we are with the sun. Yeah. So positive. Let's do something positive, and they take the energy of the sun and they put it in there, and things move quickly. And they're going to see the benefits quick. They're going to meet people along the way. They're going to have somebody maybe who's going to offer them assistance they didn't even know they needed. It's going to be a fun ride. There's a beginning. We got with our friend. Things were good. The sun is just about being positive. It's one of the most positive cards. We have our ending where we have something being offered to us. And knights are nothing but energy. Knights are just energetic. Knights are seen as the element of fire, right? Depending upon who you talk to. Combine that with this, we have our story. So, that is how I would suggest reading the pips. I hope you got something from this. I hope so. So, with that, I want to thank you all very, very much again. And go to MyTarot.org if you want to see links to the Facebook page, to the YouTube page, to all these other wonderful things. Come to the the Facebook page, say hi, chat. I'm the admin for that. We have about 1,000 people right now, and right now it's just, June of 2022. So come by, say hi. And with that, again, I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing life, an amazing week, and everything else. And thank you so much. And I hope I didn't ramble too much.